what you get. It's wild, it's twisted. Headlines hitting like a slap and you missed it. It's madness, I'm tapped out, live on the scene and I can't find my way out.
We got further along and we're like, what the fuck was the start of all over?
So, welcome back to the Convoluted Podcast, where we're ending 8 years of the show, and we're still having technical difficulties over here.
This is how year 9 will be, guys. Just so you know.
As always, I am Jesus, aka Tyrant Dominus, here with Liz.
Hey.
And if it's your first time listening or watching, you're always welcome to this very strange and convoluted space where we're the 7th weird news podcast on the planet. Liz, how has your week been?
It's been good. Just been cruising along, it's been a crazy week of not getting enough sleep, and then when I did get enough sleep, it didn't feel like enough.
Oof.
It was like one of those days I went to bed at like super like, oh, I'm gonna go to bed. It's like 9:35 I was out. And at 5:45. Nope. Rolled back to sleep. 6 o'clock rolled. Nah, fuck. I don't wanna. I still don't wanna.
Just can't get that proper sleep. It's like that weird.
Yeah.
You can't
I'm
get
sleeping but not sleeping enough. I don't know. Like
the
the
deep
hard
sleep.
deep
REM. Yeah, the deep sleep, yeah. Sucks. Like you just go close eyes, open. And then
literally there was one day I had to be up at work at 5:30 in the morning, and I just felt like all I did was close my eyes. I did not sleep a wink. By the time I got home and took a nap, I was so happy to take that nap.
I think that was for me about 2 weeks ago. I think a few weeks ago, I just like passed out for like 9 hours, where I closed my eyes, but I fell into that deep sleep. When I woke up, I'm like, felt rested, but I'm like, what time is it? Kind of sleep.
Where did I lose the time?
Exactly, and it was like 8 p.m. for me. So it's like one of those times, I slept too early. Like, where'd my day go? Kind of. But yes.
Yeah, but I'm counting down the days. I will have a 15-year-old here shortly. I'm excited, and we're going on vacation, and even better. So for all you Fallout people, that's what we're doing in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
New Vegas.
Nice. So
yes.
As Liz will be celebrating a birthday anniversary, we are celebrating the closing of this 8th year. We will be taking
whatever you want to call it.
Season 8 of it, because we will be taking a small break. I know we always seem to take weird interspertant breaks on the show, but that's because a lot of things happen, right? This year in particular.
Yes, definitely.
But yeah, definitely we will be taking a 2-week break. So there's gonna be 2 weeks before we upload anything, because Liz will be away, and we'll be working on some new things in the background that me and Liz will get together later. But there will be a 2-week break for the Convoluted Podcast. But if you listen to any other things, we are still working on the what's the name of the show? We don't
things you shouldn't know about, or what is it? What did it call? I don't remember.
Oh my god, yeah.
I'm already blanking. I know I'm blanking. I know we have the acronym right there.
I know you have it. It's you weren't supposed to find this.
Is that exactly? That's it.
Yeah, we will be coordinating that to actually finally get that up and running. So you weren't supposed to find this podcast will be probably, what is it? Today is mid-July, so probably the start of August, going into the fall spooky season. I think that's proper.
Perfect. It is Summerween though, so
proper. We will be coordinating with our third host, Chris, as we get that all set up and coordinate that a little bit more proper. So that should be, and for anyone listening, the summer of movies for Reaction Cast are still going strong. And one of our new segments on that show called After the Credits with my co-host Liam, we have finally got a title for that show. It was called Untitled for a very short season. But you should be listening. Actually, it should be out by the time this gets released. We listed our top 5 movies of 2026 so far. So half the year's gone by, so we list our top 5. So go ahead and listen to that on Reaction Cast, the After the Credits, with my co-host Liam. But yeah, there's a lot of things happening on this platform. We have a lot of things. Until it's only halfway through the year. Can you believe it, Liz?
Gosh, I can't at the same time. Can we just slow down to summer just a smidge? I really do enjoy summer and the heat and the pool and, just enjoying, getting out. I can actually get people to go out more frequently during the summer and springtime than I can get people to do it in fall and winter. Not gonna lie. But we do have something in the fall, winter, almost.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So, anything else before we kind of jump into these stories? Because it's going to be a little bit, since it's a finale for this season, it's a little longer, but it's some interesting stories. But anything else before we jump in?
Nope, I think. But before we jump into the stories, make sure that the episode and you like the episode and just subscribe to on YouTube, follow and share on Spotify and wherever you get your podcast, and help us out by spreading the word. Now, let's get into it.
So, okay, first story. So, the first story that I found is actually, apparently a grandfather was thrown roughly 8 feet into the air by a bison at Yellowstone National Park. And one of the most unsettling parts of the story that I heard is that he may have done almost everything visitors are told to do. So let's get this article going. You want me to read the article? You got it.
I can do it. What began as a quiet evening walk through Yellowstone National Park turned into a violent wildlife encounter that had captured on video, spread rapidly across the social media, and left a 65-year-old grandfather with a shattered leg.
Oof.
I know. I saw the video.
Saw the video?
Damn. Before we got to this article, so.
Yeah, like I said, it spread like wildfire. Spread like wildfire.
Yeah, it did. It was all over. The attack happened on the evening of Friday, July 10th, so not long ago, a little over a week ago at the time of this recording, at Bridge Bay Campground near Yellowstone Lake in Wyoming. Carl McDaniel, identified in some reports simply as Carl McDaniel, was visiting the park with his 13-year-old grandson. The trip was part of their yearly tradition between the two of them. Oh, that's so sweet. After eating dinner, they decided to take a walk through the campground. During that walk, they encountered a large bull bison. McDaniel later told CNN the animal was roughly 100 yards away. It appeared to be rolling in the dust, a common bison behavior, sometimes called dust bathing or wallowing. According to McDaniel, the animal did not initially appear aggressive or particularly interested in them. That detail is important because the video does not appear to show them deliberately approaching the animal or standing just a few feet away from it. Photographer Mike McLeod?
Yeah, something like that.
No. Who witnessed and recorded the encounter said there were other people who had been closer to the bison that McDaniel and his grandson appeared to be keeping their distance. Then the situation changed. McDaniel said a truck drove through the campground and its driver sounded the horn. Of course, it's got to be always that asshole driver, right? Apparently trying to get the bison to move. The video itself does not contain audio, so the claim about the horn comes from McDaniel's account rather than something that can be independently heard in the footage. The bison appeared to become agitated. It got up, focused briefly on the passenger truck, and then began moving towards McDaniel and his grandson. They were almost no time to react. McDaniel said he told his grandson to run in one direction while he moved in another direction, hoping to draw the animal away from the boy. The video shows that the two were trying to retreat as the bison closes the distance. McDaniel moves around a group of trees, apparently attempting to keep the trunks between himself and the animal. Over a few seconds, it looks as though the trees might give him enough protection. They don't. The bison circles around, catches up with McDaniel, and strikes him near the hip, launching him approximately 8 feet into the air. He flips before crashing onto his side. Oof. The impact broke his femur, a large bone in the upper leg, in 4 places near his hip. Oh, that's going to be so much pain. He also suffered significant bruising, obviously. And the danger did not end when he hit the ground. McDaniel was unable to move, and the bison remained directly over him. He later said an animal could have stomped him, gored him again, or killed him, but it did not. For the McLeod, the photographer recording the attack realized that McDaniel was still in immediate danger. He stopped the filming, put down his camera, and ran toward the animal while yelling, waving, and attempting to make himself look as large and threatening as possible. Other campers joined him. Together, they distracted the bison long enough for it to move away. People then rushed to McDaniel. A nurse who happened to be nearby began caring for his injured leg, while another person supported his head as they waited for emergency responders. McDaniel's grandson was shaken but physically unharmed, and even while lying in the severe pain, witnesses said McDaniel's first concern was whether his grandson was safe.
Oof. So you already seen the video. I think I've seen the video multiple times, so we don't have to click and watch the clip. But yeah, that is wild. That is wild. It's one of those things when you're out, in the wilderness, you're told to be careful with wildlife, right? You see enough clip of people, even when it's small animals, even in your own home, people fighting with their cats and they're frightened, even though they're the bigger creatures. Like, we are bigger animals, humans, but yet we're still scared of cats coming at us, right? But you can only imagine what a large water bison would do to you, or we see what happens to you.
Right.
And I've seen enough things on the internet to don't mess with big animal. Stay away. View from a distance. Right?
Yeah.
But this one definitely.
They obviously did were viewing from a distance, but.
We'll take his word for it, because definitely the audio kind of.
He didn't look like he was close when I saw the video, so
that's what surprised me.
Wasn't close.
That's what surprised me too.
Yeah, that was very surprising.
Because all you see is the like the article says, it's just like the bison kind of just roughing in the dust, gets up, then notices the old man and his son, and then starts charging at them. And I'm like, ooh. And that's what you kind of do. Even I would do that. I'm like, okay, use the trees as my my divider, right?
Advantage of the distraction, Oh.
So it's a scary thought. Let's see what the rest of this article has. Part of what made this footage spread so widely online was complicated the usual story people expect from Yellowstone animal attacks. Video from the national park often shows visitors walking directly towards wildlife, blocking animals for photographs, or ignoring repeated warnings. Interesting, I didn't know that. In those cases, dangers can seem obvious and preventable. This video appeared different. Based on McDaniel's account, the witness's description, and he and his grandson have been considerable distance away. Yes, we talked about that. And they recognized that the animal was getting up, attempted to leave, and tried to create more distance. Yep, saw that. And that doesn't necessarily mean every decision made during those few seconds were perfect. Wildlife encounters are chaotic, and it's much easier to analyze someone's actions while watching the video afterwards than it is to make the correct decision while a massive animal is charging. Correct. But the available reporting does not support the idea McDaniels deliberately provoked the bison or recklessly crowded it. Yeah, it's true. We know that. Instead, that appears to be a case in which maintaining distance reduced the danger, but did not eliminate it completely. Yellowstone officials repeatedly warn visitors that wild animals are unpredictable, no matter how calm or familiar they may appear. Visitors are supposed to stay at least 20 yards, roughly 75 feet, from bisons and other large animals such as elk, moose, deer, and or bighorn sheep. Officials also say bisons have injured more people in Yellowstone than any other animal. They weigh close to 2,000 pounds. Oof, you do not want that thing jumping on you.
No, you'd be dead. Blech.
Or charging at you. Oof.
Oh, God, yeah.
Despite the size, yeah.
A full truck coming at you. I don't know.
And that thing was moving too. They can run several times faster than, they're literally in the article. The timing of the attack may also be relevant. Wildlife expert Ron Miguel told ABC News that the summer is a part of the bison's rut, or mating period. Oh, interesting. During this season, the male bisons may be more territorial, aggressive, and unpredictable as they compete for other males and seek mates. McLeod said that the bull had already appeared highly agitated before McDaniels entered the scene. Campers have reportedly seen it running through the campgrounds. Ooh, that is. You want to go camping again, Liz?
Not near there.
Witnesses
outside of the campground, further out. Thank you very much.
Witnesses shouted warning as it moved towards the area. The passing trucks may also have been contributed. McDaniel believes that a horn or the movement of the vehicle agitated the animals immediately before a charge, but that remains a theory. National Park Services did not publicly determine that the truck caused the attack. It did not consistently attribute the animal's behavior to rutting season. Both are possible contributing factors described in the report, not establishing findings. The distinction matters because animals do not provide investigators with clear explanation afterward. No, duh. God, this article. Videos can show sequence of events, but it cannot tell us exact what the bison perceived as a threat or why it selected one person instead of the other. That's true. All we can say,
stop the bison and ask,
like, sir, why did you attack the old man? Was he saying nasty words to you, calling you did not have an aura for that female bison across the ways? You have no riz, but Mr. Bison. All we can say is with confidence is that the animal is already behaving aggressively. Something appears to redirect his attention, and McDaniel was unable to escape once it committed to charge. That's true. There's a lot. There's a lot to take in. Once we kind of share the video, see it once or twice, then you're like, oh, that's crazy. But then you start to look at it like, what? How did this happen, right? Mm-hmm. It's a lot to take in. There's definitely a few unanswered questions, but at the end of the day, sadly, he broke his hip or his leg.
Broke his leg in 4 places. Damn, his large ass. He's gonna need a freaking new leg bone. 65.
Maybe they can get him.
That is painful.
Oh God.
A lot of recovery if they are able to actually reattach the whole darn leg back together and
I wonder if they're gonna be going back at that next year for the tradition.
Well, that is if he can even walk that far anymore. Think about it.
Ooh, true. That's sad.
It takes a long recovery for legs. I mean,
mostly for an older individual too.
Especially for an older individual. I don't know what his health is, but I can say for certain it depends on what they decide to do. If they're gonna put in a animal correct product in there to a steel plate, or seal it up with bones and screws and see if that heals. I mean, you just never know what the direction they're going to take, and then of course it's a long time to recuperate. You're not going to be able to get on your feet for 6 weeks, and then after that it's a lot of rehab. So.
It sounds like he was also lucky that there was a nurse surprisingly nearby.
Yeah, got lucky.
Do you want to finish the article?
Yeah. Emergency medical personnel transported McDaniel to a nearby facility before he was transferred to a hospital in Bozeman, Montana. A journey of roughly 2 hours while he was dealing with the intense pain. I bet they gave him something to get him comfortable at least. Doctors found that his femur had been broken in 4 places close to his hip. He underwent surgery that Sunday. By Monday, McDaniel said he was already been able to stand. Wow. So they were able to fix it. His next step was physical therapy so he could begin walking again. He described the injury as serious, but also recognized that the outcome could have been far worse.
Oof,
Absolutely. He
yeah.
could have been knocked up and he could have been hit his head really hard. And
Well, there could have been like big rocks where he fell.
yeah, just there's a lot of like, he's truly lucky for sure. His grandson was safe. The bison had not continued attacking him while he was laying defenseless. Campers had responded quickly, and medical personnel were able to get him into surgery. The encounter was a Yellowstone's second reported bison attack of 2026. June 26, the 12-year-old visitor was injured near the Mud Volcano area and taken to a hospital.
Oof.
For anyone visiting Yellowstone or any place where large wild animals move freely, the lesson is not simple. Stay 25 yards away and you'll be completely safe. The rule is a minimum safety boundary, not a visible wall that an animal cannot cross. Distance gives people more time to recognize warning signs and move away. Vehicles and trees may provide protection. Visitors should avoid sudden movement, give wildlife an escape route, and never assume an animal is harmless simply because it's resting, grazing, or ignoring people. But even when people have behaved carefully, wild animals remain wild. That is what takes place in Yellowstone. Extraordinary. The animals are not performing for visitors, and the campground is not separate from the habitat. Humans are the temporary guests. That's why I won't go into that campground. Carl McDaniel survived because he reacted quickly, tried to protect his grandson, received help from strangers, and by his own account, because the bison stopped when it could have continued. The viral video lasted only moments, but those moments often for a much larger warning. Respecting wildlife lowers the risk, but nature can never promises complete control.
True, and those are some true words to live by when out in the wilderness, or even in your own home when an animal is bigger than you. Actually, this happened like last week. My sister, her little kids were at my house running in the backyard, and as I mentioned in this thing, my brother-in-law and sister, they have a big dog, right? And that big dog is like muscle, like a just full on muscle. She's a lovable, but she doesn't know her own strength. And the little kids, they're like literally about her size or smaller. And she sees them running, she'll go after them. She's trying to be playful, but she doesn't know her. Like I said, the dog doesn't know her own strength, and she will knock those kids out. And the kids don't understand why a dog is, quote, chasing them, even though she's just trying to run and play with them. But they were scared out of their mind.
Yeah.
And just like causing childhood trauma. But it's one of those things like one of those things like you gotta teach them. It's one of the things that kids are just want to run, right? But you also got to remind them, like, yeah, run, but don't. What happened was they ran in circles around the dog, then ran around because they were playing around. But the thing is, they've been taught or told, like, if you're gonna run like on the other side with the dog not around, because he doesn't go after them because the dog's not getting attention. But once she's like, oh, I'm getting attention, I'll play too. And that's one of the things like, yeah. And then the second they she started running and like, oh, the dog goes after them, and they got so scared. And we watched for a little bit. I'm like, okay, we gotta rescue them. Because something will happen, right? Because it's not gonna be the dog's fault. It's like the dog, but it's the dog will like either knock them out or jump on them. And because she's muscle to these little kids, like it's just gonna like boom. And yeah, so it's one of those things. Like, it can happen with anything, right? Anything that's bigger than you can. You just never know. Even with distance, you got to be careful. You got to take like, what is that animal doing? Any final thoughts, Liz, on that story?
No, it's just. I mean, it's animals don't have that spatial awareness. Like, we have the idea of spatial awareness, and we know we have the capacity to understand our sizing, our strength, and stuff like that. Animals do not. So disrespect it like that, they don't know that they're just what they're doing is being animals, and we have the human capability of having more brain cells to know what's good and not so good. So, and even though you can do good by being far away, sometimes it's not always the best. So, just animals have free roam. They will do what they are meant to do.
Boom. Now, I'm gonna start this next article, Liz, because I read the title, headline, but you read the little intro that the article has here.
Okay, a man in Kansas City reportedly spent 8 hours trapped inside the waste tank of a portable toilet, and according to the company who owned it, the entire ordeal began because he was trying to recover a bottle of Mountain Dew. Oh, I think I've seen that little blip, and I was like, "What the hell's going on?"
All right. Okay, so let's see this article. Okay. There are certain situations where the moment sometimes falls out of your hands. You simply have to accept that it's gone. A set of keys might just justify some efforts. A wallet or a phone could lead to a difficult decision. But when a bottle of Mountain Dew falls into a holding tank beneath a portable toilet, most people would have probably considered that transaction final. One unidentified man in Kansas City apparently disagreed. On July 14th, workers from a Patriot portable restrooms were collecting the portable toilets following the event connected to the FIFA World Cup. According to the company partner Chip Counterman, one of the company's drivers followed the unusual collection procedure by checking each unit before loading into a truck. Drivers knocked every door to make sure nobody was still inside. That's good. Most of the units was empty. One door, however, was locked. The person inside was told the crew would return in approximately 10 minutes, giving him time to finish whatever he was doing before the restroom was moved. 10 minutes later, the driver returned. The door was still locked. The man inside apparently would not or could not come out. At that point, when looked like an unusual long bathroom stop began turning into something much stranger, Kansas City police passing the area on a motorcycle was flagged down. The officer asked the man to exit the restroom, but the man responded that he could not reach the door and was physically unable to get himself out. When people looked inside the unit, they initially could not see anyone standing where the person would normally be. Then, according to Counterman, a head suddenly appeared through the toilet opening. God. Oh, I think I've seen that photo.
I saw the video.
I haven't seen the video.
I was trying to figure out what the heck was going on, but I was like, I don't know what's going on, so I scrolled on because I was confused. I didn't know what I was looking at. I was like, I don't know what I'm looking at.
I saw the head out of a toilet.
I could see something blipping, but I couldn't see what it was. I was like,
I thought it was just some random photo. But okay. The man was not simply sitting inside the restroom. He was underneath the seat, inside the waste holding tank. The tank is an enclosed section beneath the portable toilet where everything deposed into a unit collects. Somehow, this man had climbed through the opening, lowered himself into the space. The next obvious question is why. My question is how? How the heck do you get down that thing?
It's not a really big hole either.
I was like, I think we've all seen portable toilets. And I'm like, they seem like traditional toilets. I'm like, unless this guy was extremely skinny and flexible, like, okay. Why?
Why then? The why then? I was like, the how and then the why. Why?
Yeah. Mine is how. Like, why is the second? Anyways. Let's continue this article. According to the account he later gave, responders, a bottle of Mountain Dew had fallen into the toilet the previous night. The previous night? Rather than abandoning it, he climbed into the tank in an effort to retrieve it. Counterman said that the man had apparently remained inside for roughly 8 hours, Liz. 8 hours. The estimate that comes with the portable restroom company account. Authorities have not released the independent timeline explaining precisely when he entered the tank or whether every minute of the estimates could be independently confirmed or not. The central fact remains extraordinary. The man had climbed into a portable toilet holding tank for a soft drink, became trapped underneath the seat, and stayed there until the restroom company arrived to remove the unit. Wow.
Blech.
8
Fecal
hours.
matter pieces. That stuff is not A, sanitary, B, not good for your health, C, the chemicals they use, not even better. Oh, there's like a trifecta of gross.
Like,
I just can't understand for a bottle of Mountain Dew. Like, what in Jesus' name is going on with this for a bottle of... No, that thing is gone. Don't even go back for it. Go to the store and go get yourself another one. I know it's tight, money's tight right now, but for my health benefit, for your health benefit, I don't think this hospital bill is going to be helpful in the event of this.
yeah.
Just saying.
I wonder. Ugh. I don't. Yeah, 8. It's the most. I think most of the porta potties I've ever been into, probably 4 out of 5 of them, I've been able to tolerate enough where I'm like, okay, you're in there for the usage. You're in. You do your business and you get out. Definitely 1 out of 5 are definitely a little bit more sketchy side.
Yeah, sanitary.
And like you just definitely this one seems like it has to be one of the bigger ones, right? Because to have a holding tank is a little different, right?
I don't know. It depends on the sizing. I mean, it
Because
depends on how it's set up too. Was it high up and it had a holding tank underneath it?
yeah, because think about
there's so many of them that are so it's variable. You just like
to hold a grown man though.
yeah, grown ass man. That's pretty deep. So I didn't see how far off the ground it was, but maybe it was. I don't know.
Maybe maybe I'll have more in the article.
Yeah.
But
okay.
8 hours, Liz.
Ugh.
You want to read the next
So
part?
bad for your health. He's gonna die of cancer. Want to bet?
All right.
I'm sorry. That's way too much cancerous stuff in that shit. Literally shit.
Okay, you want to read the next part?
Yeah, as I'm going. Oh, once a police officer discovered that where the man was, the Kansas City Fire Department was called to conduct the rescue. That has got to be memorable. This one time. Firefighters first tried to determine whether the man could work his way out with a verbal guidance. The opening was large enough for his head to pass through, but appeared unable to position the rest of his body properly or pull himself back into the main compartment. Footage from the scene shows firefighters surrounded the portable restroom and attempted to direct him. What followed was not exactly a calm conversation between a grateful rescue patient and the people trying to save him. The man repeatedly shouted that the firefighters need to listen to him. At one point, the firefighter instructed him to place his head through the opening in position and before the crew arrived. The man responded that he could not do that and added an insult.
Oh God, he just made it more difficult.
Right? The firefighter, clearly losing patience, responded by pointing out that the man insulting him was just a person currently trapped inside the toilet. Is this the kind of exchange that sounds like almost too carefully written to be real? But beneath the absurdity, firefighters still had a difficult technical problem in front of them. The man was confined inside a narrow plastic tank, and simply pulling him out would have injured him or left him wedged even more tightly. Crews eventually decided that the safest solution was not to force the man through the existing opening. They would dismantle the restroom around him. Damn Porta-Potty. Videos show firefighters using powered saws to cut through the molded plastic exterior. They worked carefully around the section where the man was trapped, gradually opening enough of the structure to reach him without allowing the saw to come in contact with the body. Process was slow, noisy, and understandably tense. And continued shouting instructions and arguing from inside the tank. The firefighters continued cutting. Eventually, crews created a large enough opening and successfully pulled him free. The rescue did not end there. It was reportedly spent hours inside a waste tank. Firefighters rinsed him off beside one of their trucks using water from the vehicle. The rescue company thanked both the Kansas City police and the fire department for bringing what countermen described as a horrible situation to a safe conclusion. Available reports did not publicly identify the man. They also do not provide a confirmed medical assessment or say whether he was taken to a hospital. There is no reported arrest, criminal charge, or civil claim connected to the incident. Based on the available information, this remained an emergency rescue rather than a criminal case. The consequences appeared to have been embarrassment, physical confinement, an emergency response, and a very public decontamination beside a fire truck.
That would suck. On top of, this guy, I don't know how some people can be so rude while people are trying to get you out of a bad situation.
I'd be thankful. I would never want to fall through one of those things ever. Like, that's like one of my worst nightmares.
Ooh, Liz just goes, but on top of that, yeah. I can understand you've been stuck in a horrible location for an extended period of time. I can see where your frustration would be, but then once quote rescue has come, why make it more difficult, right? You're like, right? Please make it quick, like I've been here for so long, like because you can imagine some of these places don't pick up these things because these are like rental places. Sometimes it could have been a weekend and you wouldn't have been rescued for like maybe a couple days if you were.
Yeah, if you're lucky, a couple days.
Like, oh yeah, like we have it rented all weekend, but no one's working this weekend, so you just would have been there all weekend.
It could have been such a worse FNAF. Ugh. It'd be like, where's my damn phone? I'm calling. I gotta get the fuck out of this place.
That's the other thing. Like he lost his
Mountain Dew, not his phone. Where was his phone? That's my other question. What was he?
There's the next question. How? Why? Where? Where was your phone?
Where was your brain? Forget the damn Mountain Dew. God, that's just such an embarrassing situation. Like, I don't even know.
Okay. Once the rescue footage reached the social media, the story spread quickly, not because it involved a major crime or public controversy, but because almost every new detail made the situation harder to believe. First, a man was trapped inside a porta-potty. The viewers learned that he was not trapped in the main compartment, but inside the tank beneath. Then came the report of the reason, the Mountain Dew bottle. Then the estimates that he had been there for approximately 8 hours. And finally, that there was a recorded argument with firefighters who were cutting the restroom apart to rest. Online coverage focused heavily on the contrast between the man's predicament and his apparent frustration with the emergency workers. Several reports highlight the firefighters' incredulous response after being insulted by the person trapped inside the unit. It is easy to laugh at the story, and the circumstances naturally support a certain amount of humor. But it is also worth recognizing that the situation could have ended much worse. The man was confined in an enclosed waste tank, unable to reach the door, and apparently unable to free himself. Had the Porta-Potty restrooms delivered failed to check the lock unit before loading it, the man could have potentially have remained trapped whilst the structure was being transported. Instead, the driver noticed that something was wrong, and the passing police officer who was brought into the situation. Firefighters were able to dismantle the unit without seriously injuring the person inside. There are still unanswered questions. I have a few. The reports do not clearly explain how the man positioned his body through the toilet opening in the first place. There's one of them. They do not say whether he have ever successfully located the Mountain Dew bottle. Oh, did he ever find it?
That's a final answer right there. Did you get your Mountain Dew bottle, buddy?
They did not confirm whether the drink was full or partly finished or empty. More importantly, they did not explain what sequence of decisions led him to continue deeper into the tank after it seemed clear that retrieving the bottle would not be simple. But perhaps the uncertainty of this part was why the story became so memorable. Most unusual, the rescue story begins with a mistake that makes some sense in the moment, and a dropped phone, a lost wallet, an animal in danger, or someone attempting to help another person. This one reportedly began with a bottle of soda that had spent the night at the bottom of a portable toilet. And by the time it ended, the restroom had been sawed apart, police and fire had been called, and the man had been Sprayed down beside the fire truck, the entire rescue had become a viral entertainment. The simplest lesson is also the strongest one. Something are not worth recovering. Once a Mountain Dew enters the portable toilet, it belongs to history. True. Like, I get it. You know, if it was like, you lost your car keys, like, how are you gonna leave this event, right?
Yeah.
Like, or like I said, your phone. Like, everyone's dropped their phone in the toilet and stuff like that. The curses thing. Sorry.
No, don't curse me on that one. I have yet to do that. That is always one of my other fears. I'm like, no, I'm not leaving my phone. I've dropped my sunglasses, but not worth it.
Then more so in the quote, not public, but in the porta-potty, those things are, they're situated to hold the waste
Content.
Yes, the waste. So once something falls in there, I'm like, oh, you are done for. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
And yeah, that one. Any thoughts, Liz?
It just blows my mind. That's all it is. It feels like, oh, you can't make this shit up. No, it literally happened.
And
you literally can't make it up anymore. It is not a hypothetical. It is a real story. But for Mountain Dew, even crazier.
All right, let's jump into the next one. So apparently, what you pay? Did you know that if you pay YouTube every month, to remove ads, then the video starts, and the host pauses and the story, and suddenly you're watching 2-minute commercials for VPN. Now, a proposed class action lawsuit is happening, and it's asking a surprisingly complicated question. When YouTube Premium promises an ad-free experience, does that include the advertisements built in directly into the videos, or only the ads YouTube controls? That is a question. That's what this... You want to jump into the story?
Question. Yep. You pay a monthly fee. YouTube promises an ad-free experience and no interruptions. You open the video, and 30 seconds later, the creator stops everything to sell you a VPN. Is that still an ad? That deceptively simple question is now the center of a proposed class action lawsuit against Google and YouTube. And depending on how the case develops, it could force her to examine where the actual content ends and where the advertising begins, and what a streaming company is promising when it sells a subscription as ad-free. The lawsuit was filed on July 14, 2026, not that long ago, in the United States District Court of Northern District of California. The named plaintiffs are 2 California residents, William Fleming and Devin Rose. They filed the case against Google LLC and YouTube LLC, seeking to represent a nationwide group of adult YouTube Premium subscribers along with the separate California class. The wording is important. This is a proposed class action. The court has not certified millions of subscribers as members of the official class. Google and YouTube have not been found liable. There has not been a no trial, verdict, settlement, or final ruling. At this point, what exists is a complaint, a formal document laying out the plaintiff's allegations, and explain what you want the court to do. Certification itself is one of the remedies they are requesting. At the center of the complaint is a YouTube Premium basic sales pitch. YouTube offers its standard platform without a subscription, supported largely through advertising. Premium customers pay for additional features, including downloads, background pay, access to YouTube Music Premium, and most relevant here, an ad-free video viewing. The complaint says YouTube repeatedly markets the full premium service using phrases such as ad-free, no interruption, and unlimited ad-free videos. It contains images of YouTube's promotional material telling prospective customers they can keep watching what they love without interruption. The plaintiffs argued that the ordinary customer would read those phrases literally. They say someone comparing the free version of YouTube with paid version would reasonably believe that premium removes advertising from the viewing experience, not merely certain technical categories of advertising placed by YouTube itself. But according to the complaint, that's not what premium customers always receive. The plaintiffs say subscribers continue to encounter promotional segments placed directly inside videos. There are familiar sponsorship breaks where the host pauses a podcast, documentary, comedy video, or gameplay session and begins advertising a product or a service. The difference is largely technical. A traditional YouTube ad is normally delivered by YouTube's advertising system. It can appear before a video, interrupt the video in the middle, or play after the content. Because the ad is separate from the uploaded videos, YouTube can remove it from the subscriber. Creator sponsorship is different. The creator records the advertisement as a part of the video itself. The sponsorship is inside the uploaded video file, alongside the interview, commentary, gameplay, or story the viewer intended to watch. Unless the creator provides a separate edit, YouTube cannot simply remove the segment in that same way it removes an automatic inserted commercial. The plaintiff's response is essentially this: the technological distinction may matter to you, YouTube, but it's not necessarily matter to the customer. When the viewer is affected, the program stops, someone tries to sell a product, and the program resumes.
Interesting. It seems dumb, but it makes sense, right? People have,
yeah, I get it.
like, we've seen class action lawsuits before. What was it? Was it the ginger ale one?
Yes.
Yeah. Like,
Completely made of ginger.
yeah. It makes sense. Do you use YouTube Premium, Liz?
No.
You suffer through the ads?
I don't even watch YouTube, so.
Ooh, interesting. I think
May watches it, but that's I don't watch it. I don't watch it enough with them to notice things that don't bother me, because I saw stuff some of it's interesting, some is just like, okay.
This is why Liz is not brain rotted. I think YouTube makes up half of my viewing content. So that's half. So I lost YouTube. Like me and my family use YouTube Premium because ads are ass. There are videos that have 30-minute ads, Liz. 30-minute ads. My niece,
the traditional TV. We have gone back to traditional TV.
And it's because we've gotten so used to like Netflix's early no ad system. Like when YouTube, like I just can't do ads. So having YouTube Premium, it helps, like the other features it has. I can download a video, so I don't have to worry about having a connection or have it play in the background if it's just like an audiobook or a video I can just listen to. Like if you can listen to this podcast in the background if you without our faces, you'll still get the same amount of content. If you're just listening to us in the background and not get bothered. But I understand there are some videos I've watched where creators are putting ads. We've done it.
Sponsor ads. It's sponsor ads.
Sponsor, yeah.
Same combo.
Like we've had not sponsors, but we've had little, like, to sell our merch and stuff. It's technically still an ad. And it's one of those things where, like, we have we've updated our product and we haven't even mentioned it either. It's like been like the end of the season. It's been like 2 months now that our merch has been updated. Merch has been out, and we haven't said a single thing.
We're already promoting ourselves, guys. We already have a sponsor ad right here.
Which is ourselves. Like, we are sponsoring ourselves. But I get it. When when the wording is you are getting ad free. You're getting an ad-free experience. It's not the exact quote, but I'm paraphrasing. you would think, yes, if you like, I I don't have to worry about ads. Like, we have a tablet in the room, which my little niece watches sometimes when she's bored, and she hates it the second she's watching a video and an ad pops up, and she says, skip, and because she already knows the word for skip, because she just hates the ads. I don't blame her.
They're annoying sometimes, and some of you are like, "Is this useful to me?" No, no, it is not.
So having that ad-free experience has been a joy for me, because like I said, it's like nearly half what I watch is YouTube, and having it be broken up with ads, like, it just is frustrating when I'm just trying to see or listen to the content, right? So I get where this is coming from. It's a little ridiculous, I'm not gonna lie, but it's not too wild. It's weird, to say the least. What's going to happen? I don't know. We can see what this article has. Maybe there's more information, but the general concept is like, I get it. Let's see what this says. Let's see. The lawsuit provides several recognizable examples. It points out to episodes of the Theo Von podcast featuring actors and comedian Kevin James. According to the complaint, the interview runs for a little more than 23 minutes before cutting away to a Pepsi promotion that includes the material from the Super Bowl commercial. The plaintiff describes that it's an advertisement unrelated to the conversation the audience had chosen to watch. Another example involves a creator, Kamel Marxes,
Call me Chris.
Call me Chris. Thank you. And a true crime video. The company says the story reaches a suspenseful point, pauses for a Surfshark VPN sponsor, then returns to the narrative after the promotion segment ends. The filings also cites a Markiplier gameplay video that allegedly transitioned to a NordVPN promotion only seconds after the video begins, and it points out to the episodes of A Diary of a CEO, where the Spencer portion are reportedly marked as the creator as ads. The complaint's arguments is not simply that the product appears somewhere in the video. Traditional product placements can be subtle. A character may be drinking a regular soda, a host may wear a brand clothing, or product may sit somewhere in the background rather than the counts as an interruption can be debatable. The example in the lawsuits are more direct. An extended content pause, the creator changes subject, a company or product is promoted. In some cases, there are transition scenes, sound effects, progress bars, or explicit labels indicating that the viewers are entering the advertisement segment. The video can then shift back to the original subject once the promotion ends. Fleming alleges that he has subscribed to YouTube Premium since 2019 and watches or listens for approximately 6 hours each day. Ooh, more than I do, I'll be honest. He claims that he still encounters advertisement constantly, including recent promotions for DollarWise app, gaming apps, and privacy services incognito. I've seen those. I'm not gonna lie, I've seen those. Rose says he's been subscribed since 2018. Similarly to the advertisement appeared before and during videos he streams. The videos these remain allegations made by the plaintiffs. They have not yet been tested through a trial or resolved by a judge. The complaint also draws attention to the difference between YouTube Premium and YouTube Premium Lite. I don't even know what that was. YouTube Premium Lite is a lower cost option YouTube describes as making most videos ad-free, meaning customers are directly warned that some advertisements may remain. Full YouTube Premium, by comparison, has been marked using border language such as no ads, ad-free across all of YouTube. The plaintiffs argue that this contract reinforces the idea of the full premium customer are buying the complete removal of advertising, not simply a reduction in ads or the removal of ads controlled directly by YouTube. This distinction could become essential to the case. The plaintiffs are not merely arguing that they dislike sponsorship, they are claiming that the difference between premium and premium light helps create a specific customer expectation. In simple terms, their position is this: if one plan promises the most videos are ad-free and that most expensive plans promise no ads, then customers have reasonably believed that the more expensive plan eliminates all advertising interruptions. But YouTube did not provide some clarification, just not necessarily in the place the plaintiffs believe it should. YouTube official help center says premium members may still encounter branding or promotion embedded in podcasts by creators. It also warns that users may see creators enabled promotion links, shelves, or other features around the content. Ads or promotions may not also appear on primetime channels and during live stream events, including sports. That gives YouTube a potential important response. The company can point to the official documents explaining the premium removes platform delivered advertisements, but not guarantees that every creator will produce a separate sponsor-free version of the video. YouTube can argue that the creator sponsor is part of the creator's content rather than the commercial instead of the inserted and being served by YouTube. They anticipate that distinction in their filing. They argue that the Help Center explains it is not incorporated into premium terms subscribers agreed to when purchasing the service. According to the complaint, the subscription terms themselves identify the exceptions for ads or promotions during the live event, but do not clearly state that the regular premium videos may contain paid creator sponsors. The plaintiffs also reject that they see a segmented distinction between advertisement and promotion. The argument is that it does not matter whether YouTube inserts the commercial or whether the creator records it directly into the video. Either way, the viewer chosen content is interrupted by paid attempts to sell something. The complaint describes the YouTube distinction as wordplay and argues that the customer experience remains essentially the same. So, a lot of the back and forth of it's a lot of word garbage.
She said kind of crap. Oh, well, this is what the wording said, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, it's just that. What do you, I think we just gotta wait and see. Because, yeah. I get the frustration, but as of recently, there's been a feature on YouTube where you literally can just skip the ads inside videos too, because there's a skip to section, because people just skip it, right? It's been a feature for a few months now. I sometimes
not be loaded everywhere, just FYI. So some people are given it and some people are not. I've noticed that too. Like, oh, you got this premium, but only a handful of you got this new cool tool.
There's a lot of beta. There's a lot of beta features. I've had some. There's been some interesting ones when driving where it's just the audio, like enhanced audio, and no video. Like, okay, I tried that driving once. I really didn't notice anything different, but I'm like, it saves on data too because it's only playing the audio, which at that point doesn't matter. But it's definitely a wait and see, because if it goes through, it's definitely going to change the way people are going to be uploading videos. Because a good amount of YouTubers make money with sponsorships, like smaller YouTubers. Because I actually just saw a video of someone equating there. I'll show it to you later. And it's interesting what you can do on this platform if you really do the work, but as a consumer, you don't want to be spending, like, we grew up in the age of commercials, right? Where we watched 20 to 24 minutes of a series for half an hour and watch 6 to 5 minutes of commercials. Those are 5 minutes of our day that we quote lost, right? But then we got this binge culture.
Well, that was our potty break, our snack break.
True.
I mean, that was the opportunity. Oh, we need to let the dog in. Our dog needs to go out. It was perfect timing.
True. But we could pause, Liz. We could pause now.
Now when we were kids. When we were kids.
You didn't have TiVo?
We didn't have DirecTV.
You didn't have TiVo?
I didn't have TiVo. No.
But yeah. So I think that's more or less what this article says. There's a lot more.
Yeah.
It looks like jargon, but
I think it's just going back and forth.
Yeah, what are your final thoughts on this one?
I would like to see what happens with it, just out of curiosity. Like, are they gonna, what's the court's gonna say? Is that siding with the plaintiffs, or are they siding with YouTube? I mean, I'm curious. How will it affect going forward? I mean, that's another question, right? So, I would like to see what happens. I'm curious. I'm curious what the world will say. I get it from the plaintiff's perspective, but I also get it from the YouTube. Like, we're not control this. This is not our, our doing. This is hands free. This is what you watch this certain person, and yeah, I think it's you watch that creator. The creator has sponsorships because they need to have they need to put that 30-second ad in there, because that's how they get their money from the sponsorship, and that's how they get their money to. It's a little variety of everything going on, right?
Yeah,
I've watched some of those episodes and you're like, it's annoying. Okay, move on. We skip this. I don't want to hear this. Oh, what you're selling today, kind of crap. So, I don't know. I get it. I'm just curious how they will word it, how it'll be rewritten, just that kind of thing. So, we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. All right, let's jump into the next one, because jumping's I think the wrong thing after I just read the title.
Oh God. 20.
No, you can go. You can go first. You can read.
A 22-year-old student pilot was thousands of feet from the safety of the ground when her instructor removed his headset, opened the door of the small aircraft, and disappeared from the cockpit. Suddenly alone, deeply shaken, still in the air, she had one option: take everything she had learned and land the plane herself.
Here's my question to you, Liz. Do you think you could land a plane in an emergency situation?
No. There's too many buttons for me to push. I'd be like, what? I would have to know what each button would. If I had enough hours under my belt to know how to do it, that'd be different. I mean, that's something I would love to, eventually learn in my lifetime, is how to fly a plane. But with the instructor in the pilot cockpit with me, I want to learn, not die.
Okay. Oh, you want me to read this? All right, I'll read it.
Yeah. Okay.
So let's see what this article says. So a routine training flight at over the central Argentina became an almost unimaginable emergency when a flight instructor exited the moving craft, leaving his 22-year-old student alone at the controls. The student, identified in the reports only after her first name, Rosario, survived. She maintained control of the plane, returned to the airfield, and completed the safe landing. Her instructor, 42-year-old Lorendo Bortazzo, was later found dead in the field. Well, yeah, I think we kind of figured out what happened.
Yeah.
The incident took place near Toledo in Argentina, Cordoba province. Okay. A statement from the county public prosecutors placed it on Saturday, July 4th. One of the other reports listed July 6th, but the prosecutor-based accounts consistently identified July 4th. So it appears to be most strongly supported date. Bertazzo worked for the flight school called Flying Parrot Cordoba. He was an experienced pilot and instructor who had reportedly also taught in the neighboring Chile. That day, he and Rosario took off in a Cessna 150. The Cessna 150 is a small single-engine aircraft with 2 seats positioned. Oh wow, they were close. So she saw what happened. With positioned side by side, the plane, like it, have long been used for flight instructions because their controls are relatively straightforward and the instructor can sit directly beside the student. They were even designed to provide immediate support, and the instructor can demonstrate a maneuver called a student mistake or take control if anything goes wrong. But during this flight, the person who was supposedly providing the safety net suddenly left Rosario completely alone. According to Rosario's account, but Portazos turned to her and said the words to the effect of, "You know what you have to do. Carry on." Oh.
Fuck.
Then he reportedly removed his headset, unfastened his seatbelt, opened the aircraft door, and exited the plane.
Damn.
Yeah, wow. Imagine that's what's happening to you, Liz. You're like sitting next to this person who's supposed to be teaching you, and then they just say the words, "You know what to do. Carry on."
Carry on. What is that supposed to mean?
The sequence described by Rosario is important because it led to investigating the people at the flight school to believe that this was not an accidental fall. Opening the door of a small aircraft while it's moving through the air is not necessarily simple. The flight school director compared the force involved to attempting to open a car door while traveling in roughly 124 miles. Oof. So he was forcing that door open. Cool. Rosario described Bertazio arranging some of his belongings, including his phone, before removing his restraints and opening the door. Those details came from the student's account and were part of the evidence being examined. They were not conclusive independently witnessed by investigators inside the aircraft. The reports say Rosario was stunned by what she had just seen, but the plane was still flying. That's true. You're kind of like left there in shock. There was no second instructor. There are no one besides her who could take controls, make the radio calls, or guide the plane back to the runway. She had to separate her emotional shock of what happened from the immediate technical problem in front of her. Keep the aircraft steady, determine her position, communicate with the emergency, and return to the airfield and land. Ooh. Can you imagine? How old is she? 22?
22. Shock of a lifetime. Shock of a lifetime. She was probably like, what the hell's going on? Like, what is... I'd be freaking out too, bro. I'd be freaking out too.
Oh, you wouldn't have the chance to be freaking out, Liz. You gotta...
I know. I'd be like, holy shit, I gotta keep this plane stable or I'm gonna be nose diving and taking that fall too. Like, I hope she had enough hours and understanding and knowledge to land that plane, you know, but like seriously, you know, like what if it was one of your first flights up there and that's what happens?
Well, we'll find out. Let's see if this article has more information.
Rosario was described repeatedly as a pilot, but also not someone who had never flown before. Okay. According to the reporting, she already held a pilot's license but had not yet accumulated enough flight hours to be considered highly experienced. She still had limited time in the cockpit and was continuing instruction. The distinction makes her response no less remarkable. Having enough training to understand the controls is very different from being emotionally prepared to land an aircraft immediately after watching the person beside you fall to his death. Alvarez said Rosario was in complete shock, but she was nevertheless behaved with professionalism. She maintained control, flew back to the airport and landed the Cessna safely. The aircraft was reported undamaged and Rosario suffered no physical injuries during the landing. Emotionally, maybe. Alvarez praised her as a clear, decisive, and mature under the circumstances that would have overwhelmed many experienced pilots. That praise became one of the most central reactions surrounding the story. The most shocking part of the incident was naturally Bertazzo's death, but much of the coverage also focused on Rosario's ability to continue functioning after an extreme psychological trauma. A pilot landing alone is not an automatic emergency. Student pilots eventually perform supervised solo flights as a normal part of their training. This situation is entirely different. Rosario had not begun the flight expecting to be alone. She had not been completed the emotional preparation that normally comes before a planned solo exercise. She became the aircraft's only pilot without warning and under circumstances that remained with her for the rest of her life. After landing, Rosario immediately raised the alarm. Emergency personnel began searching the rural area near where she believed Bertazzo had left the plane His body reportedly found in the field about 20 minutes after authorities were notified. He was pronounced dead, and prosecutors opened an investigation into the exact circumstances. Early reporting was more cautious about what happened. Authorities initially said the circumstances were so unusual that they would not immediately explain how Portazo had left the aircraft. Investigators reportedly considered whether a mechanical problem involving the door, its latch, or another safety system could not cause an accidental fall. Examined the plane, the maintenance history, and the flight school's records. As Bizarro's account became available, however, the evidence increasingly pointed towards an intentional act. But even then, it remains an investigation. The available sources do not report a final judicial ruling establishing Pistazo's motive. There was no criminal charges because the person whose actions were being investigated had died, and the case concerning determining the circumstances of his death, not prosecuting another person.
True. But wow, well, at least it's one of those things where it definitely it looks like this person had experience, but definitely you're in that mindset when you're getting into a situation, right, where like, okay, in this one, where okay, like I'm going up, I'm doing a practice run with my teacher, right, and that's your mindset while you're up there, to then like you just saw someone like jump off a plane. I'm like, oh, okay, I just saw that, and then like, oh wait, I'm still landing, and I have to get this back and report it, right?
Right.
That's a lot today, and that is not the mindset you went up in the air with. So good on her to
reacting quickly, but really disheartening to handle that situation at 22 years old. Like, I was just here for my lesson, and my instructor just literally offed himself.
It is wild. It is wild. One of the central questions was whether anyone around Portazo had seen warning signs before the flight. Alvarez said that the flight school had not. Portazo had reportedly flown with another student earlier that same day without any known incident. His colleagues remember him as a highly experienced, friendly, and frequently smiling. Alvarez describes the school as a shocked by what happened. I would, if that's what it sounds like. And said there had been no visible indications that Portazo intended to harm himself when he entered the plane. Later reports say Portazo had received neuropsychiatric
treatment.
Okay, received. Oh, so he did, and that close relatives may have known he was experiencing personal and mental health difficulties. That information should be treated carefully. Receiving psychiatric treatment does not automatically make someone dangerous, unpredictable, or incapable of working safely. Millions of people receive mental health care without ever harming themselves or anyone else. Sources also do not establish specific diagnosis and confirm motives or direct medical explanation for what happened aboard the plane. What they show is a difference between how Portazo appeared professionally and what members of the family reportedly knew privately. His colleague saw an experienced instructor who had completed another flight that day, and his relative reportedly knew that he had been struggling and receiving treatment. Those two realities can exist at the same time. People who experience a serious mental health crisis do not always display obvious warning signs to coworkers, and students are not even close friends. That uncertainty can reflect in Alvarez's reaction. He describes the decision as almost impossible for people around Portazo to understand. The case can also raise a difficult aviation safety question. Pilots and flight instructors carry enormous responsibilities. Their physical health, judgment, and emotional conditions can affect not only their own safety, but also the safety of the students and passengers. Aviation systems therefore use medical evaluations, licensing requirements, and continued training to reduce risk. But no screening system can perfectly predict a sudden personal crisis, especially when the individual has not disclosed it. Their symptoms are extremely visible, or their conditions change between evaluations. The source do not establish the flight school knowingly ignoring a danger or violation of regulations. They also do not report a civil lawsuit, regulation penalty, or finding that the school was negligent. At the time of the reporting, the known outcome was more limited. Bartazzo was dead, Rosario had survived, and prosecutors were still working to reconstruct why the incident happened. For Rosario, the landing demonstrated that her training worked under the worst circumstances imaginable. She kept flying when panicked and could have taken over. She returned the aircraft safely. She prevented one death from becoming two. The description of her actions as a heroic should be not obscured from what forced upon her. She did not volunteer for an emergency test. She did not choose to become a part of another person's death. She was placed in danger and deeply traumatic situation by someone she trusted to protect her and teach her. That is what gives this story weight. It is partially a story about skill, a young pilot using limited experience to land an aircraft alone, and partially a story about mental health, potentially, a person who reportedly struggling in ways many of his professional colleagues never saw. And it is partially a story about responsibility, because the personal crisis inside the two-seated aircraft instantly became a life-threatening crisis for the person sitting behind him. Rosario landed safely, but an emotional consequence did not end when the wheels touched the ground. The plane came down undamaged. The student survived, and the investigators were left with much harder task of understanding why a routine lesson ended with one pilot dead and the other forced to complete the flight alone. That's true. You just never know, right? It's interesting, right? It's it's a lot of, at this point it's a lot of hearsay, but yeah, if the family is saying something happened, you just never know. There people sometimes just go to work and you just never know if they're struggling or not, because some people can bottle it away. Or what's the word? Compartmentalize it. Yeah. And and it's at the end of the day, definitely what Rosario did was a very, very hard thing to do in her situation, but she still completed it. But it doesn't diminish the after effects of what happened, right? Because that is something she's gonna remember forever.
I know. That's something you just wake up and go forget about. That's something crazy. Like imagine that. Like, today I'm going for my flight lesson. This is going to be a great day. It's a beautiful day. The weather's great. It's going to be, a great lesson. Blah blah blah, and then turn total opposite. Like, it's sad. It's sad. It's hard to think. Oh, I'm trusting myself with this person, and the person decides to up and leave. No explanation. I hope there's some closure on a lot of people's end of what happened and where this man Bataza was at in his mindset. I feel sorry for the family, and definitely sorry for Rosario, because she had to deal with that traumatic. When people do these actions of ending their lives, I don't think they see the repercussions of it either, too, which is sad. You get so dark in that hole, you don't realize how detrimental it could be for somebody who might be in the room or near you or anything. I don't think anybody realized how impactful it is. So I'm glad Rosario didn't find the body. I think that would be even more detrimental to their psyche. Just yeah, it's sad. I think there are resources out there, and people need to acknowledge it too, that they might need help, and if they need help, they need to step away from something that might cause harm, right?
Sure. Well, we will never know unless they do an update, but at least it was only one, not two.
Yeah, this is true.
All right, the next one. Apparently, a sports camera does more than record what happened. It decides what the audience notices. A high jumper can be shown as an elite athlete controlling speed, rhythm, rotation, and force. Or a body suspected above a camera position underneath her. A pole vaulter can be shown planting the pole and converting a sprint into a vertical flight, or replaying extreme slow motion from an angle that offers almost no information about how the vault actually worked. The athletic movement is the same. The story created by the camera can be completely different. What are we talking about?
The European Broadcasting Union and European Athletics have released a detailed new guide asking broadcasters to reconsider how women are filmed during track and field competitions. It's called Raising the Bar, Guidelines for Respectful Media Coverage in Women's Athletics. And despite some of the most dramatic reactions online, this is not a law. This is not a government restriction or a criminal rule or a formal ban on certain camera angles. No camera operator is facing charges for filming for the wrong side of a sandpit. No athlete has been hidden from a view. And the document does not demand the broadcast to stop using close-up or slow motion altogether. Instead, it's asking production teams to consider a much simpler question. What does a shot actually contribute to the coverage? Does it help the audience understand the athlete's technique, power, strategy, emotion, or result? Or is the camera lingering on a woman's body simply because the production team knows the image may attract attention? The distinction sits at the center of an entire debate. The 23-page document was developed by European Broadcasting Union, better known as the EBU, in collaboration with European Athletics. The EBU is an alliance of public service media organizations with 113 members across 56 countries, along with the 31 associations in other parts of the world. The recommendations were made available to broadcasters covering women's athletics and were developed with input from directors, camera operators, replay operators, commentators, and elite competitors. The document was published in June of 2026, but gained much wider public attention in the middle of July when media outlets and social platforms began circulating its illustrated examples. Those examples make the guide unusually specific. Rather than offering vague language about treating athletes respectfully, it represents diagrams of actual camera layouts for high jump, pole vault, long jump, triple jump, and running events. It makes certain views with green check marks and others with red crosses. The discouraged images include cameras positioned directly beneath athletes, tight views from behind, close-ups of isolated body areas, and slow-motion replays that continue through awkward landings or recovery positions even when those moments provide no useful technical information. The recommended images tend to remain wider. They show full run-up, the athlete's stride pattern, the takeoff point, the clearance, the landing area, the reaction, or the interaction between the competitor and the coach. The basic argument is not that the athlete's body should disappear. Athletics is a sport built around the human body. Speed, balance, flexibility, strength, rotation, posture, and physical control are the entire point. The argument is that a broadcaster can show that the body is an instrument of elite performance or isolated as an object. Glenn Cleelane, executive director of EBU Sports, said that the selective camera angles and editing choices continue to sexualize women athletes across sports broadcasting. He identified lingering body shots at low angles that produce revealing views and excessive slow motion replays with no meaningful technical or storytelling purpose as the main problems the guide is to address. The EBU argues that these choices affect more than single uncomfortable moment on television. They can redirect the audience's attention away from what athlete accomplished, instead discussing the speed of approach, accuracy of a takeoff, or the difficulty in movement. Viewers may focus on how clothing or body appeared from a carefully selected angle. The photo also survived far beyond the original broadcast. A moment that appears for 3 seconds during a live competition can be clipped, slowed down, cropped, reposted, and circulated online without any connection to the athlete performance in original documentation. The issue was central to the testimony of British Olympic pole vaulter Holly Bradshaw. Bradshaw says she was personally received social media abuse and has been inappropriate videos created from slow motion competition footage, including herself and other athletes. She said that some competitors have entered major events worried about where the cameras are positioned and what might later happen to the footage. In other words, an athlete preparing for one of the most technical difficulty sports and events in sports may be behind her in front of her. That is a significant point because the elite performance depends heavily on concentration, and pole vault, high jump, and long jump, and small disruption in rhythm can ruin an attempt. And an athlete may only have seconds to coordinate speed, posture, foot placement, timing, and body position. In many competitions, she also has a limited number of attempts. Bachelor's concern is not simply personal embarrassment after the fact, because she is saying that the awareness of the cameras become more part of the competition itself, a distraction that athletes must manage alongside pressure, fatigue, weather equipment, and the technical demands of the event. Serbian long jumper Ivan Spanovic raised similar concerns. She said certain camera angles can cause discomfort and anxiety, contribute to long-term mental health consequences, and even create physical safety issues when cameras are positioned in areas athletes are using warm-ups or practice run-throughs. Spanovic also emphasized that the commentators are part of the solution. When the visual coverage highlights technical details, commentators can explain why an athlete succeeded or failed. That helps viewers understand that the sport and gives younger athletes something more meaningful to study than a body-focused replay. The guide was also shaped by Croatian high jumper Blanka Vlasic. Her contribution demonstrates by the EBU does not see respect and technical coverage as competing goals. Vlasic explains that the successful high jump begins long before the athlete reaches the bar. It depends on the rhythm of the approach, hip position, the curved portion of the run, takeoff distance, and the angle at which the jumper directs her momentum. A wide view can show all of that. A tight shot underneath the bar may show a dramatic image, but it cannot remove the very information needed to understand why the jump succeeded. That leads to one of the guide's strongest arguments. The angle that is more respectful is often the angle that teaches the audience more about the sport.
Interesting. So to sum it up, it's just people don't want inappropriate angles during sporting events. That's what I'm kind of getting from this.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting to from it. So I get it. It's hard. They are very sexualized sometimes. I look at some of those, I'm like, I have never really like focused on it, but I've seen like blips of it, but it's like, that seems like, why would you want to see that motion? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why is that important? Where they zoom in, you're like, okay.
Did you see the examples that I posted?
No, I did not.
Gonna be in general, and then we can kind of just scroll down.
Remember, I have to log into the app.
I
don't have Twitter.
Let me see if I can find just a compilation for.
I get it. We want to try and see how it works and not. Oh, that's cool. Let me show me the article. You want to see how well it's done and not like the angle. I get it. Like, so I get it. They're trying to not sexualize it, and I can see it. Like, some of it's, over. Like, it makes no sense. Yes, I understand certain angles are perfect for like what you're trying to capture, but like it doesn't really reflect on how the person jumps the bar, or make that landing. let's see how it goes from the beginning. So I get it. It I think sports been like that for a long time. I think it needs to be redirected and changed. Women do just as well in sports. Um, I think it should be utilized appropriately.
So I'm just going through some of their examples. That's it there because I posted their actual document.
I saw the actual document. I just flipped in it real quick, and I'm like, that makes sense because some of it, so you're like, why is that important? Like, I get the angle of certain things, like how they get over a bar, but like the way they show it, it's just
There's a
wrong,
couple. There's a lot of just croc shots, and a lot of these. Oh my. More or less, it looks like it's just more of what these people are wearing too.
Well, they have to wear like tight fitting clothing because that's how they handle the job, right? The less clothing you have. I mean, you think about when was it the Romans or the Greeks? The Greeks that did it. They were pretty much near naked to competing in these events because they wanted to make themselves faster and be able to sort through and do what they needed to do. So obviously, and of course, now that we are more of a modest world, they covering it up, but you have to have it tight enough to not hindering. You don't want it flowing all over the place while you're trying to shoot a javelin. You might be shooting somebody's head out with that javelin, right? So I mean, that's why you have to have it,
Or do the long, what is that long pole one? Where you are flying up?
It's javelin.
Oh, like,
that's what I was talking about, the javelin.
Oof.
So the spears, you. And it is.
Didn't we talking about an event that happened last time with the guy who's like, his dick hit the thing?
Mm-hmm. Oof. So I think that might be utilized in male sports too at some point. His his appendage took out the bar, making him fail. I mean, again, it's the same concept, right? Why do we have to see that? But it's also important to see, that's how you know they're not going to fail. But, yeah, I think it's a great thing. I'm glad somebody's speaking up about it and creating it, as a topic of a discussion. Like, why does it have to be so sexualized? And I get it from the cameras, from the person who's doing the competition. Where's the cameras? How are the camera angles are gonna hit me, and how that stress? That's an extra added stress. Like I panic too. Be like, oh wait, where's the camera? How am I acting? Where
Liz doesn't know there's an actual 2 extra cameras in her room right now where I'm just screaming through her.
I always knew it. This guy is always hiding stuff around me.
So let's switch it to camera 2, camera 3. You see that, everyone? Perfect. But it's it's an extra layer of stress to what's already a very stressful event, mostly in these main events, mostly like these games, right? And definitely the female sports certain sports have been very sexualized. I think the best example would be women's volleyball. That is the haymaker of this, right? So we'll see how it goes, because definitely this is going to be affecting a lot of the European games. We'll see how the US takes it, right? I'll read this next part because I'm going to skip the whole, because it goes into technical parts. I don't think we need to get into the technical area. I was kind of scrolling through it. I'm like, there are a lot of things. But let's see, because starting at this part, the broader issue here is that the sports broadcasters do not merely document competition, they teach audience how to interpret it. With the camera repeatedly focused on technique, the viewers learn to appreciate technique. But when the focus is on the strategy, the viewer begins to recognize strategy. When it focuses on facial reactions, coaching, conversation, and competition pressures, the athlete become people who with goals, decision, and emotional stakes. When the coverage really isolates women's bodies, the broadcast trains the audience to evaluate those bodies separately from the competition. That is what the EBU means when it says camera choices shape perception. It also explains why the guide focused specifically on women. Some critics have asked why the same standards would not apply to men. Male athletes also be filmed in revealing positions, but men can also have embarrassing images clipped and shared online. The documentation does not claim otherwise. Its specifies purpose is to respond to women athletes who said that they were experiencing a repeated pattern of sexualized coverage and anxiety, abuse, and misuse of their footage. The EBU's position is that the women's athletes had an identifiable problem requiring direct guidance. That does not prevent broadcasters from applying the basic principles to men. Shows that the athletes in a way that serves the sport rather than exploiting the accidental or revealing position. The recommendation also follows a broader conversation within the international sports broadcasting. During the 2024 Olympics, Olympic Broadcasting Services leadership publicly urged production teams to film men and women according to the same sporting standards and avoid allowing stereotypes or sexism in the shape of coverage. The EBU guide takes this general idea and turns it into an event-specific example. Some of the online reactions are, once the illustration began circulating, the reactions divided quickly. On Twitter, Trends Summarized describes the response as sharply split. According to summaries, many users criticized the guidelines as something that could be reduced to appeal of women's sport. The page to connect the discussions to the European athletes' wider race to respect efforts and note that broadcasters were preparing to upcoming European competition. Twitter itself cautions that these automatically trending summaries can make mistakes, so they should be treated as broad descriptions of conversation rather than scientific measures of public opinion. On one side, debates argue that the sports involve bodies moving through unusual positions and that the camera crews cannot be expected to avoid every potentiality revealing image. Some people also worry that the directors may become so cautious that the broadcasters lose some useful angles. That's true. Especially in events like pole vaulting, high jump, where seeing the athlete's body passes over the bar can be important for understanding the results. Other criticism was that the guidelines could sanitize the sports or force camera operators to crop the action in an unnatural way. And a more openly divisive part of the reaction suggests that the sexualized images are part of the appeal of women's sports, and reducing them could reduce audience interest. Interesting. The final argument effectively proves that part of the concern rises by athletes. If someone believes a women's competition becomes less valuable when the camera stops emphasizing revealing views, then the person may not have been valuing the competition primarily for the athlete's performance. That's true. Supporters of the guide argue that the debate has been exaggerated. The document does not tell broadcasters to hide athletes' legs, uniforms, or bodies. It does not demand that every shot remain above the shoulders. It does not eliminate slow motion, close-up celebration shots, or views of athletes landing and recovering. It asks production teams to use shots with purpose. Running World summarizing the guide idea of focusing on athletes rather than choosing to most sexualized possible perspective. The coverage also stresses that it is not a request for the less attention or physical movement. It is a request to ask whether it's a particular shot actually helps viewers understand the performance. Petapixel similarly notes a complete avoiding every awkward image may be impossible because of how quickly athletes move. It describes that the athletes are the guidelines as standards rather than hard rules, emphasizing that EBU wants fairness, accuracy, and respect, not the elimination of creative sports photography. This coverage focused on Bradshaw's testimony, athletes becoming distracted by camera positions, receiving abuse, and discovering inappropriate videos built from competition footage. It also emphasized the guidelines encouraging wider views of run-ups, takeoffs, and techniques rather than simply forbidding specific equipment. The most reasonable criticism is that the implementation will be sometimes difficult. Live production happens quickly. The camera operations cannot predict every movement. A view that begins as technically useful may become awkward within seconds. A director may have to choose among imperfect options, but the guide recognizes that reality, and it does not demand perfection. It demands awareness. It may be the clearest way to understand this entire controversy. The question is not whether a woman's body can appear in coverage of women's athletics, Of course it will. The question is why the director selected the angle, and why the replay operator slowed it down, why the editor returned it, and what the viewer learned from seeing it. The camera reveals extraordinary mechanics of the human body operating at the limits of speed, power, balance, and control. Or it can reduce the person performing the achievements to the body part that might generate attention online. The athletes had already done the difficult part. She trained for years, stepped onto the runway, and faced the pressures and performed. The least a broadcast can do is to make sure that the frame is worthy of that achievement. That's true. Yeah, definitely. If you're watching a women's sports just to see women in like nearly almost half clothing and just like that, then you are not really watching the sports in women's, right? Yeah. That's the thing. That's kind of been the joke of like women's volleyball, right? Like people watch women's volleyball to actually, I don't even know if that's broadcast or is it? I've never actually seen
it.
It
is. It's just it just depends on the channel, the season, blah blah blah, etc. etc. So, but I mean, I get it from that perspective. I've seen some of that stuff, and they do sexualize a little bit too much. I mean, like certain angles, and you're like, why is that necessary? I don't need to see that shot. You know, I understand getting over the pole, but I think that should be, you know, at the pole height thing. Okay, is that worth it? But like, because you want to see that clear, that obviously marks them if they don't. But I think the idea of being respectful of how we angle it and view it is more put forward to, you know, making it, you know, we're looking at the athlete and not the body.
Yes, I understand. Yeah,
you want to look at the person who's doing the jump, but not the person itself, like at their body parts. Like you want to see them as a whole. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? You know what I'm getting at.
I know where you're getting it. I know where you're getting it. I hope our audience as well. We're trying to see them perform the action they are doing and not focusing on a single or just single part of them. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that's true. It is on it's also on the crew, right? On the crew who is one film broadcasting, the one who's in the broadcast room, the lead and that, the director, the editor, everything. It's happening all really fast. Mostly when it comes to these types of games that are quote live, but there's like a few second delay, right? But with it, you only have a few seconds to do all this stuff because people want the replays, they want all these things, and if it's done accordingly and properly, like even this article says it's not going to be perfect. You know, nothing's ever perfect, but you can use these guidelines to make it more or less easier for your team to be able to perform and respect the athletes as themselves. So, but I can see the level of why criticism and why people have been talking about it online. But yeah, it's like
both sides of it, but at the same way, I get it though. I think the idea of being more respectful should be something we should be looking at things. Oh.
Mostly in this day and age.
Exactly.
So, any final thoughts on any of this story? Any story, Liz? Anything you have?
No, we had some really good stories, some really funny ones, and then really serious ones for sure. So,
what a way to end the season!
Way to end 8. Way to end 8. Yeah.
So that brings us to the end of another episode packed with strange choices, messy situations, a story that somehow becomes more complicated the longer we talked about them.
If you have a good time, hit that like button, subscribe on YouTube. It's cheaper than therapy and slightly more organized. Follow and share us on Spotify and do the same wherever else you listen to podcasts. Most importantly, tell a friend, a coworker, a cousin, or that one person who always sends you the bizarre news at 3 a.m. Thanks for listening. Stay curious, stay questionable, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Yo, going with KBers to a level of the block. This is a 95. Clear the night, going, we going, we out, going, we go. Yo, we got bees in the street. Sequence on the block, this is jail, TCP. Live talking cover. Cool block, the command with the mic and a bulletproof vest. Reporting live from a scene that's a hot mess. Each umbrella flying like a heat-seek missile.